any other race, but American government says 72% of the drug users in America are white males. So let's talk about the real injustice. Let's talk about the education system in this country. Let's talk about the health care of poor people. Let's talk about racism that exists all over this country in America, the #1 sin of this country.
Well, if racism's the #1 sin, then why are you hanging out with guys who are accused, like Wright, who says the USA of KKK, and Farrakhan did call Judaism a gutter religion, and he's called Jews bloodsuckers. That's a fact.
Okay, you can say what you say. I know what I heard when I've heard him speak.
Well, tell me what you heard.
I'm gonna tell you that Louis Farrakhan is not anti-Semitic, and Louis Farrakhan is not a hater, and he is not a bigot. First of all, it'd be pretty hard for him to be a bigot if I'm white, and I'm a very close friend of his, wouldn't it? So, he is somebody that I respect for. It is interesting to me that when white people criticize America, they're critical. When black people criticize America, they're haters of America. It is very interesting to me how we have those double standards in the media and double standards in society. When black people raise issues, they're angry and they're mad. When white people raise issues, they're raising questions. That's the double standard of this country.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. Look at Senator Obama. The guy's has a good shot to be the next president of the United States.
I hope he is.
Well, right. So you're not living in no one's saying that he's that way, and he's an African American man. So that's not true. It's just when you got It's when you say, sir, that when a black man says something, they're angry and this, that, or the other. I think people make a distinction between someone like a Senator Obama and someone like a Reverend Wright or a Louis Farrakhan.
First of all, Senator Obama is a senator. Reverend Wright is a preacher in a pulpit. Those are two very different roles. Very different prophetic roles of which they're called to be. The person in the pulpit is called to speak the word of God and spoke to raise the conscience and raise the question amongst the people he or she preaches to. That's the job of the preacher. The job of a politician or of an elected official is to try to bring the country together and using the laws of this country and the justice country to try to serve all its people. Unfortunately, in America, we don't have a real good history of serving all its people. Unfortunately, in America, we live in a double standard society, and it's as real as 40 years after Dr. King's death. How different are we? How really different? It's amazing. We talk, look, we're great in America.
If you talk to Senator Obama, he said the biggest problem with Reverend Wright is that he's stuck back 40 years ago, and that things have changed, that they've gotten better. Is Senator Obama wrong?
No, I'm not speaking about Senator Obama.
Well, you said how much different are we?
You asked me about Jeremiah. I'm speaking for me. I think that in 1968 to 2008, we've made a lot of progress, and we have made a lot of non-progress at all. Dr. King, I believe, would cry today if he looked at this country and saw the plight of poor people, saw us in a war that is immoral, founded on a lie. If he saw the conditions of which we list in this country today, I think Dr. King he'd probably be considered by you and Mr. O'Reilly and your viewers as an angry madman.
Listen,
because that's how we like to make people out we disagree with.
Father, I think that Martin Luther King's message was that he wanted every man to be judged by the content of his character, not the color of their skin. And what Reverend Wright is preaching is a black liberation theology that's very much racist and anti-American. And so there's a big difference between those two messages.
Sir, the big difference is you call it racist, you call it anti-American, and you call it black liberation theology. Reverend Wright preaches the gospel of Jesus Christ, the same gospel I preach here. And have said many of the same thing. I believe that the gospel's message is not only to preach unity and to preach progress, it's to deal with the ills and the cancers and the sicknesses and the sins of our society. And we got to deal with those. And I'll continue to preach about those as long as I'm a pastor. That's our job. I'm not running for office.
Right, but
I am running for Jesus.
You're running for Jesus, which is a message of love, not a message of hate. And don't you think that there's... Hang on, let me just ask you a question, because it's a sincere question, Father. I mean, I don't think that you or Reverend Wright or me or Bill O'Reilly or anybody else has a monopoly on caring about people. I don't think that just because you and Bill O'Reilly may disagree on something that you can then say Bill O'Reilly is, a racist or doesn't
see, but there you go again. You want to jump to terms. I'm not calling Bill O'Reilly a racist. I say I disagree with him. I disagree with the stance your station has taken and the prejudice stance that it's done on Jeremiah Wright. It's wrong and it's unfair. That's all. I know Jeremiah Wright. I don't think you do. I don't think Bill O'Reilly does. I know him. He is a good man. He is a loyal American, and he's a prophetic teacher of the gospel. And I'm not going to allow people to call him a racist, anti-American, or bigot. Him nor Louis Farrakhan, because neither of them are. I know the persons.
But isn't there part of their message is not a message of love? It's a message of hate. I mean, it's just that's what even Senator Obama had to distance himself from their remarks.
You just defined love by Dr. King saying, be judged on the content of your character and not the color of your skin. Read the first part of that speech, where he called about the injustices of America. Read his speech about the Vietnam War. Read his speech from the letter from the Birmingham jail, when he talked about America. Listen to what Dr. King, we like to take Dr. King and repackage him into this wonderful little loving, sweet guy who has an olive branch in his hand. That's not Martin Luther King, because I knew him too. And Martin Luther King spoke truth to this country. And that's why he's dead now, because they decided that he had to die.
Well, thank you very much, Father. Appreciate it.
You're looking at the most abundant